Hey guys, Matt Stark, owner of Riot Baits, and I am here to give you a little tip to get a little bit more juice out of the squeeze on your drop shot setup during the summer months. Now, a lot of lakes throughout the country, they get choked out with weeds, and you also start fishing a lot of wood and brush piles, more in the summer months than you would in the winter, where you're more orientated towards rock. Now, during those periods of time, if you have an exposed circle hook and you just have your worm nose hooked on that circle hook, and it doesn't really matter how you rig that nose hook, that hook's going to be somewhat exposed. It's going to allow the branches of both the weeds and the wood to go ahead and get kind of caught on that hook, so you're more likely to get hung up in those situations. What I like to do in the summer months is take a worm similar to our synth, which is a tri-pour hand poured worm here, or a tri-colored hand poured worm, and I will rig it up on a 1/0 or a 2/0 flip-in hook, and I will texpose it, creating a smooth and flat surface so that I can pull my drop shot through brush, through weeds, and I just spend less time having to re-tie my drop shot setup. And if you're saving time, your worm is going to be in the water a lot more. You're going to be spending a lot less time with your tackle box open re-riggings. So I'm going to show you guys how I rig up this synth worm. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that hook point and I'm going to slide it through the nose of the worm, and I'm going to pull it all the way up. Basically, I'm coming in and out about 1/4 inch, and I'm pulling it all the way up and over the keeper there. That's going to hold the worm on. And then all I'm doing is texposing my hook inside the worm. Now, if you notice, I don't want it to come out. The reason being is I want that to go ahead and slide through the brush piles and slide through the weeds rather than get hung up. If the hook comes through, although you're still not gonna get hung up as much as you would on a circle hook, you are gonna get hung up a little bit more. So by keeping that hook in the worm, it's just going to make it that much more weedless. And this worm is soft enough to where when you set the hook, you're going to have them hooked in the roof of the mouth every single time. There's like 4 or 5 of them with them. It's a good, decent sized spot for Lake Norman. Let's see what he's got though. Still got a little bit of fight in him. All right. There you go, guys. That's what it's like drop shotting with a synth, Lake Norman. It's a nice fish, eh? I want to show you guys something about the synth also. I don't know if you can see this, but my synth actually came off the hook while I was fighting that fish, and it's floating on the surface of the water. And that's something very different about our synth versus the most popular competitor, is it is buoyant. That makes a huge difference, because if you're dead sticking this worm rather than it sagging down like this, underneath the water when you're presenting it to a fish, this thing is neutrally buoyant, so it's going to go ahead and be horizontal in the water column, which is a more natural bait fish like position. So this is why the synth is like that. So as you can see it floating in the water, neutrally buoyant, you're going to get more bites with this worm than you will the competitor. So just a little tidbit of information about this worm and how we do it different. So that's my tip for the summer months. Hopefully it works for you, and you guys spend more time with your line and your water and less time retying your drop shot this summer. Good luck to y'all.